welcome to AP Chemistry, and today we're going to be learning about quantum numbers. Our main goal will be to find the quantum numbers for zinc, but before we do that, I think we should learn a little bit about quantum numbers. Quantum numbers are the specific properties or atomic orbitals of an element. They define the properties of the electrons in the orbitals. And they are a set of 4 numbers that describe these properties. So on to the numbers. N we call the main energy level. Or the principal quantum number. And it can be a number 1 through 7. L is our second number, and it is the sublevel or the sublevel or the angular quantum number. M sub L is the orbital or the orientation, and it's the third quantum number, and it can be from -3 to +3. And M sub S is the spin orbital, and it can be positive or -1/2. Some rules are that n cannot equal 0, and M sub L has to be between 0 and n-1. So to know how these work, you have to sort of see where they fall on the periodic table. So we'll start with N, or start with the sublevels because they're easiest to see. So first you have the S sublevel, and it is the farthest most left side of the periodic table, so it's from here to here. These are all in the S sublevel, and at the S sublevel, L equals 0. Then you have the D sublevel, and that is from the middle part right here. And in the D sublevel, L equals 2. And then you have the P sublevel, and that's to the right of the D sublevel, and it's right here. All these and L is 1 in the P sublevel. And finally, you have the F sublevel where it's just the rest of them. And L is 3 in the F sublevel. And then you have to find the main energy level, and that you can do based on its placement in the periodic table, based on like the row and the sublevel. So let's start with the S sublevel where we can label the main sublevels. And right here is where you'll find where your main energy level is, your principal quantum number, that's N. And for N, you have to, after you label these, the N is going to be whichever number the element is by. It changes for each sublevel. So it starts at 3 in the D sublevel. And then in the P sublevel, it starts at 2. And in the F sublevel, it starts at 4. So N, principal quantum number, is what is labeled on each side. And you can see those there. And then L is your sublevel, and that is labeled by color. Now we'll do the orbital, and that is M sub L. And that you can see when after you label it. It varies depending on the sublevel. In the S orbit or in the S sublevel, M sub L is always going to be 0. In the P sublevel, M sub L can be from -1 to +1 and in between, but it starts with -1, it goes to 0, then to 1, then -1 to 0 to 1. In the D sublevel, it can go from -2 to +2. So it starts at -2 to -1 to 0 to 1 to 2. And then it goes from -2 to -1 to 0 to 1 to 2, like this cycle. And then in the F sublevel, it goes from -3 to +3. So -3 to -2 to -1 to 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And those are your M sub L's. And they are your orbital. And then finally you have your M sub S, which is your spin. And that can be from +1/2 to -1/2, and it pretty much depends on where it is in the periodic table. So in the S sublevel, it starts at +1/2 and it goes to -1/2. And in the p sublevel, it each cycle from the orbital sublevel has a different spin. So from here, from the -1 to 1 on the left side, it's +1/2, and the other cycle would be -1/2. And then in the d orbital, the first cycle would be positive, and the second cycle would be negative. And the same thing for the f sublevel. And that's how you find your quantum numbers. So now we're going to do zinc, and we can start with the N. And if we look on the periodic table, zinc is right here, and so its N would be 3, and its L would be 2. The N is 3 because right here it's 3. And then the M sub L, the orbital, is going to be +2. And then the spin would be -1/2. I hope this helps, and good luck in chemistry.